Where did you find it?
In the toilet. What the?
In the toilet. That means it belongs to us.
Not with $30,000, bruh. US dollars and a watch.
Now, my contacts in Mother Russia, they send me diamonds hidden in the walls of this box.
It's ours now. So I have a plan. My plan sets us free. Your plan keeps us here.
Just give me one day. I promise you I'll find you diamonds.
You really think I will tell you so much and let you live?
You said to kill him.
How can I question him now? And why you do it in a private office when we can do it on public beach?
We'll only go to box.
Kirill says if you come in and return the money, he won't harm you.
She's trying to help us, Lonnie.
He's trying to kill us, Brian.
She works for Krill. So what's it gonna take to get you out of here?
Kirill's dead. That's not all.
Listen, that's the love of my life, and she's here with me.
Brian, she doesn't love you.
You're going to kill them.
What the hell have you done, man? He thinks you stole that watch and killed his son.
Where is he?
Right now, we have to disappear.
Funeral music. Very popular at expensive places like this. Call Kirill. Tomorrow, you all die. He's gonna kill us. Found out about the bloody money. You don't want to see me lose it, no? I was in a fight once. Oh, my brain want to see it coming, man.
Dude, that's all kinds of wrong.
I'm resuscitating it, you sicko. Oh, not children for you.
See, I know how to handle women. I used to practice on my sisters a lot.
Good morning, Sister Regina. What a beautiful sunrise.
So what am I becoming? I could have killed you, man.
So all I have to do is bring Lonnie and Brian here.
We'll see.
Always bigger, always better.
Arms against the wall.
Last time I checked, I still made the rules.
Did the fish just wink at me? Finest Keepers. Action comedy. It's very funny. The script's hilarious. The cast is hilarious.
Give me gun. Give me gun. Give me gun.
Check. Handling the pandemonium for a moment. You I'm a shogun focused on an open case and I close as opposed to I can it loaded and cocked.
A young cleaner, fairly young cleaner, Lonnie Cabot, 26-year-old male. Watch me get that pad out in record time. Those panties aren't gonna wash themselves.
Lonnie is kind of a lost soul, a really good person. The idea of the good guy always ending last. He is that guy, always ending last.
You! Listen, I need this washed and dried. Understand?
Wanting a friend so badly that he goes against his own moral compass.
How did a bad place like this attract good people like you and Brian?
Him being a cleaner at Pussy Galore means the world to him. Like, there's a few lines and scenes in the movie when he proclaims that Lonnie Cabot's the best cleaner. You know, no one cleans toilets like Lonnie Cabot, so he takes big pride in his work. No one cleans toilets like Lonnie Cabot. Here we go. You're clearing up now, huh?
Привет, Anya. I am playing Sonia, a Russian stripper. They owe the club owners money and therefore they are struck. And in her case, it's particularly sad because not only does she owe this particular club owner money, but he also has her daughter. She started school. Kirill, I have not seen her in a year.
I play the part of Kirill in Finest Keepers. He's a Russian gangster who has a strip club. We're one of the three sets of bad guys, in a sense. And his consignment of diamonds coming from Russia has gone missing. And that's kind of what sets a whole lot of the story off in Finest Keepers. And it just, everything just escalates until it gets to a point where, everybody's looking for everybody else and everybody's out to get everybody else. And it's really nice because it's not only is it funny, but it's kind of an action comedy, with like broad appeal. Hopefully everybody will love it.
And then you have the Brian character who has been spoiled, but within all that spoiled, having all the money, having everything, he doesn't have a real friend.
You must be a hit with the ladies. In Lonnie's mind, he develops this friendship with Brian. He knows where he stays, he knows what his place looks like, he feels that he's part of the home. And Brian, unfortunately, doesn't see things like this.
He falls in love with a stripper and spends all his time and money with this specific girl, and he's madly in love with her. Actually, I think in his mind it's true love, and he actually just wants the best for her.
What are you doing? Kirill's going to kill you.
Don't worry, honey, I've got it under control. Stop looking at her, you little piggy! And it's actually a love story, but fortunately, she belongs to everybody. Like most of the strippers, my friends know.
So these two guys kind of find each other through their journey, the collective journey through the film. It's a bromance. It's a I don't know, male bonding movie.
Finest keepers. Lonnie Cabot, you beauty.
Maynard and I grew up in the time when Kapti and Barik were running the show in Cape Town, in the Cape Flats. And it was pretty different then because you had local gangs running the scene, just like Jackie Jardine. And then in the gangs you do have captains, you do have soldiers, and that's all incorporated in the story. You have corrupt policemen that work for gangs as well. So there's a fair bit of reality going on.
And I play a character called Jackie Jardine, who is the leader of the Sevens gang. You see a very sort of soft, tender side when he's with his son. He really wants a better life for his son. His son, of course, is keen on joining the gang, but then you kind of see the flip side of him where he's dealing with his cronies, his underlings.
Bring her inside. Get Lonnie's number now.
The Sevens gang is a very interesting group of guys. They are truly a motley crew, both on camera and off camera. They're really a quirky bunch of guys if you look at how they dress or you look at what they say. And each of them have got different backstories with Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie's the boss and he makes the rules. And he made me captain. Now you remember that. Remember the Sevens motto, failure deserves pain.
We grew up in the same community. We've always known each other since childhood already. And he was always the guy that we messed about with. For a while, we thought, he'd hang out with us, but he chose something else. We're gonna mess around with him, but we're not gonna do any grievous harm.
Each time he drops Brian at home after his, let's call it shenanigans at the strip club where he falls in love with Sonia each night, the Sevens gang members rob him. Like PC picks on him, Pachmi picks on him, he's terrified of them. They keep robbing him, but they don't harm him physically, like they don't shoot him, they don't stab him, but they rob him, they strip him of his clothes, they embarrass him all the time, and they take his valuables.
And from Lonnie's side, it's quite a naivety.
To the park, yes, I know. I like going to the park these days. It's the only place I can enjoy nature. Come, ladies.
Once again, I can bring this back to the fact that we're talking about this comedy and people think, oh, it's normally very shallow. But if you really sort of peel away the layers of the onion, you'll see that the film and the script and the screenplay has had a lot of development in it. And as we peel it away and we take the different relationships, the Russian gangsters and the brother relationship there between Kirill and Fedor, and you take the hierarchy within the gang of the Sevens, and you look at Sonia's own dilemma with her her world. You have got this 4 separate stories.
I think it's because we understood the content. We understood the Cape Town environment well enough, which I suppose makes it more meaningful. Some of the characters as well, some of the characters are named after some of my friends. I tried using the stand-up comedy set-up punch system. And it's difficult to stick to that and roll out the story and develop plot.
Of course it's going to work. I mean, it's funny. Swing around. Have you ever seen that being done in a movie? I don't think so. I wanted to direct the film myself because I knew exactly what I wanted from the film. The style, the rhythm, the depth of the comedy, all of those things. And a lot of the comedy is in the dialogue, and like many of the foreign comedies, and that is, I want to create something which can stand up in a cinema up against any film from anywhere.
Huh? Oh, flip! I forgot you only speak Russian. Hello? Hello? Have you seen Brian? Yeah? You understand, Brian?
I don't.
Maynard's probably one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. I think it's very unusual for a director. I've never met a director as humble as he is. I mean, he really carries himself like just a bit like Gandhi, isn't he?
I like the fact that can I say ballsy? I think I just did. He's a ballsy South African filmmaker.
Has been interesting because he's truly a master of that kind of storytelling, and it's great in terms of the direction that he gives you. It makes you feel very comfortable.
I think he understands me, which is great. He's got an eye for something different, and he's also a revolutionary filmmaker in the sense that he's not scared to take on things by himself. And I think what he's done with this film is open up a new sort of genre, a new bracket for new filmmakers. And I think he also sees a lot of new talent and up-and-coming talent and utilizes them, which I think is fantastic.
I think the relationship started prior to the movie. We initially met at the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown in 2014. When I completed my one-man stand-up comedy show, and we touched base. He gave me his card, told me to contact him once I was back in Cape Town. Told me about the movie, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity.
He allows us to play around within the scenes. I mean, he knows what he wants as a director, but he allows us to kind of find the funny within the scenes that we're playing, which is really amazing.
He doesn't force you to stick down to the script, which is great. You can take the lines and say, I want to change this, change that. As long as you're getting the message across, he's cool with you guys to just, improvise and play. And I think he's supportive of trying to find the comedy in the script, which is important.
Yeah, it's really nice to work with someone. He's incredibly calm in the face of all sorts of, everything. On set, there's always something going on. There's always something going wrong. Every single set I've ever been on, there's things you can't plan for, and he is incredibly gracious in handling anything and everything that comes his way. I found it's been a blessing.
The script is amazing, but he really has helped it come to life.
He very much knows what he wants to achieve, and it's been nice to have him around that, is someone very hands-on with performance and pick all the locations and that sort of thing.
One of the focal reasons for going out on my own was to be able to make feature films, and not just feature films but commercial feature films. With Finders Keepers, it's a different step away from what is perceived to be the norm for a successful commercial recipe in the South African context. It is critical for our local industry that we also drive, or have a vehicle to drive the English audiences to watch local South African films. And you look at the Leon Schuster films, which are predominantly English, and you have massive. I mean, those are the most commercial films in South Africa. I mean, they outperform the American films. And what I'm looking to do is to not necessarily emulate what he's done, but to go into that similar market with something different. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to go for a take. And no matter how much I loved her, she always bit me. It's weird. I mean...
What can I say about Dalen? I mean, he's a fantastic human being. It's always nice to have the opportunity to meet these people and see how much passion they have for something they're sort of new at. He's a stand-up comedian, and what I found with these comedians nowadays, most of them, is that they don't necessarily think I'm funny, but I think Dalen might think I'm a little bit funny, which is great.
Oh, he pulls faces at you. How are you meant to concentrate when he's pulling a face at you in the middle? And also, he has honed the skill of using half his face to pull a face, and the other half that's facing the camera is all serious.
So you should put on a glove.
Look, he's looking easy. There you go.
One of the defining differences between Dalen and Lonnie is that Dalen can put gloves on, like rubber gloves.
He's got it. He's got it.
Next one. And then you struggle.
Yeah.
But down. Look at my hands. Look at my hands. But that's not what happens on camera.
Look at this. Use my strong hand.
But Lonnie can't seem to put rubber gloves on. It's like a character thing, I guess. But he committed.
But I know you treat Brian. He spends thousands booking you. Because that's all the relationship we can get. You, Missy, you don't fool me.
He's extremely likable, and I think that is very important for a leading comedy actor in a feature film. It's not enough to just be funny. There has to be something in your personality that the audience will enjoy and want to spend time with. And I think he's got those character traits. I always thought that I want to look at the world of stand-up comedians and see if there was anyone there with the potential to lead a feature film and cross over.
We've used a number of stand-up comics who aren't actually trained actors, so that's been an interesting process, and I think it's worked very well for this particular movie.
Also, I was particularly interested in finding someone younger. I've got quite a few mates who are in this world as well, but who are older, and I really wanted to find someone younger to give the film a more youthful energy, and that's a really good word, actually, energy, because that is exactly what it is, a bundle of energy. And but beyond that, he's a really bright person.
And also he's just incredibly funny by nature. He is, I think Lonnie is a part of Dalen, just 2 octaves higher.
The energy and the chemistry we have as characters will be seen in the movie, which I think is sometimes great if you can sort of capture that in a film, and then that can go past the screen itself and sort of transcend beyond that. And I must say he's turned into a very good friend of mine, and I'll definitely join him for a cup of tea at some stage.
Hello, boys.
Sonia, you look even better in the daylight.
I've also followed Niels's career for quite a while, and beyond film and television, he does a lot of theatre. He's got a really great timing, very dry sense of humour, which I quite enjoy, having spent a long time in the UK. A very intelligent actor, and very giving, very honest, generous actor.
Niels is very, he's a consummate professional whilst being a complete goofball.
My initial fear was, will there be chemistry, will there not be? Because I work with people, we all do in that industry, so we feed off their energy. I think we're both very mature in our own weird ways. He'd say the same thing.
Yeah, I respect comedians. It's a very, especially people that do it on their own. You take advice from other people, but at the end of the day, you got to stand on that stage and perform. And I've got a very massive respect for that, and it's been a pleasure working with him.
And aside from that, I mean, he's an experienced campaigner. He's been in the business for years. He just guided me with small nitty-gritties, important things like staying on your mark, getting to your mark, staying out of the light, not moving. Why don't you maybe do this? Do that? Are you comfortable with that? Are you cool? And just big lessons for me, because I think it's very important to listen when experienced guys talk. You can learn a lot by just keeping quiet and observing. How they focus before filming a scene, how they focus once action is called, etc. So in that regard, working with him has been really cool, and hopefully it's the start of many adventures.
See, Kirill does not want any friends here.
She plays Sonia, my love interest, the stripper. She does that stripping part really well in the movie. I haven't seen anything off screen. I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, I met Lisa last year when I was casting for a pilot project of mine of a sitcom series, and I cast her in that, and I found her very funny, very natural actress.
I'm paying off an impossible debt Kirill made up so I can make him more money.
It's not an easy role to play. I mean, you're thinking, it's a character as an exotic dancer or stripper, but it's a much more complicated character than that.
You don't have to go. I'm paying you for the whole night.
They already paid. Ryan, just forget about me.
Beautiful woman on screen and beautiful person, in general.
Only together make your hand go clap. It's so soulful like you're leaning the lap. It's like Marvin Gaye singing while the ghetto was trapped. I struggle with myself.
Right, so Roscoe Vacal is, after cinematography graduate from several years ago, still young, in his 20s, but a very dynamic and I think quite mature DP for his age. Then last year, I produced a movie in Knysna. Coincidentally, Roscoe is from Knysna, and which was quite, the synergy was quite interesting there. And we brought him on board to DP that film. And on the back of that, I just started discussing Finders Keepers with him back then.
Kept the movements quite subtle, small, but quite a lot of movement. Most shots have like a slight push or a pull to them, and yeah, that was definitely a predetermined choice.
I get him. What would I do without you? Huh?
We're shooting in it! We're shooting! We're shooting a hurricane! Carsten cutting into the bridge.
Cape Town's weather is one day it's raining, and on that same day it's going to get warm, and then suddenly the wind blows and it rains at night again. So I think we've captured that in the film. And
we have a saying in the film business, it is what it is. And I'm a total believer in the organic process of filmmaking.
It's stormy, eh?
Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And I think this is where, if you have $200, $300 million to make a movie, it can be perfect. So what the weather is what will be in the film.
the guy said, you know what, we got to do this, and we shot in the rain. And I think that added a lot of texture and feel to the film. You know, sometimes you spend thousands of rand on creating rain coming down, and here we had it naturally.
And action!
Initially, when Srini wrote this thing of the fish, and we were just kidding about, oh, what were they? They kidnapped an animal, and then it's got dogs have been done, cats have been done. Oh, what about a fish? Yeah, okay. How's the fish going to act?
Listen to the thing that you sicko. You can't give a fish mouth to mouth, it's got gills.
We have the opportunity to bring in visual effects in a way that hasn't been seen in typically South African productions before. Most South African productions tend to think visual effects is too expensive, and therefore we don't partake in it, or people don't see what the benefit will be.
The only way it's ever going to work was going to be for us to do CGI. And as a producer, I could have been tempted to say, well, actually scratch that, let's just rewrite that, but...
That's been interesting, and it's awkward because you have this little box-shaped prop, or fish-shaped prop that you're working with. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know what this thing looks like, but it's still very interesting, but it's been fine.
And the fish had to have personality, it had to have certain characteristics, it had to be able to have humor and various other moods, etc. So the only way to do that would be in computer graphics. So in chatting to Maynard, we decided that this was going to have to be a photorealistic fish, and that would then exist in this comedy world. And hence, if you do it right, then it shouldn't be something that should be seen as visual effects. It should be seen as something that complements your movie.
What do I do next?
Quiet on set, please.
It helps South Africans share common experiences. It builds morale, it builds unity. It builds a national identity. So we need to see more of these movies, I believe. And it's pointless doing something serious, especially in the South African context, because I think life's serious enough. This is an interesting way of bringing people together with a laugh, which is pretty much a South African way of life.
The whole thing has just been a very pleasurable, exciting journey, and I do believe that people will enjoy the movie, and like I said, it's going to sort of open up a new genre form and put South Africa on the map in a different way. So it's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully there'll be a sequel and a triple prequel, whatever you want to call it, make up words for it, but look out for Finders Keepers too.